Vietnam Canada Hub Solutions would like to introduce to Vietnamese entrepreneurs and businesses a video about Vietnam economics. The information in this video is collected by VCHS from sources such as tradingeconomics.com, Report of General Department of Customs, and the World Bank. VCHS accepts no responsibility for the accuracy of this information. In this video, VCHS will provide the following information. 1. Update the economic situation during and after the COVID-19 outbreak. 2. Vietnam's competitive advantages. And 3. Support for investors and exporters in Vietnam. Vietnam is considered one of the brightest economies in Asia despite the challenges and crisis from the COVID-19 pandemic. This is judgment of the ASEAN economist Edward Teaser, the leading economic researcher of UBS Multinational Research Agency. Although COVID-19 caused significant damage to the Vietnamese economy, the prospect of this Southeast Asian country is considered to be the brightest in the region for the following reasons. Retail sales, imports, and industrial production have all increased in June 2020. This is a more positive point than most economies in the region. Vietnam's gross domestic product in the second quarter of 2020 is estimated to grow slightly, about 0.36% over the same period last year, while the GDP of many other economies plunged sharply in this quarter. Vietnam also has the advantage of continuing to dominate the global market share in the future, making it ideal location for multinational companies, strongly attracting foreign investment. The most economies investing in Vietnam in the first 6 months of 2020. The Vietnamese government has responded promptly to the COVID-19 pandemic. Taking this advantage, Vietnam quickly opened the door to economic recovery, realized the dual goal, continued to implement reforms, fill gaps, and endeavor to maintain the momentum of economic growth and social progress. These actions have raised the status of Vietnam in the world. In addition to effectively controlling the spread of COVID-19 pandemic, Vietnam has also signed numerous free trade agreements. This has great implications for making Vietnam the best country to invest in. Specifically, the EU-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement, EVFTA, was approved and took effect from August 1st, 2020. It has the following impacts on the Vietnamese economy. Effects on growth. Research by the Ministry of Planning and Investment shows that if the commitments on tariff reduction and non-tariffs are fully implemented, combined with some factors from the trade war, the possibility of the UK leaving the EU, the policy changes, etc., Vietnam's economic growth will be improved in the short, medium, and long term. The calculation results show that the EVFTA is expected to contribute to an average increase in GDP from 2.18 to 3.25 for the next 5 years. Effects on trade. Regarding exports, the EVFTA is expected to increase Vietnam's export turnover to the EU by about 42.7% in 2025 and 44.37% in 2030, compared with the absence of the agreement. In terms of total export turnover of Vietnam to the world, Vietnam's turnover is expected to increase by an average of 5.21 to 8.17% for the first 5 years of implementation, 11.12 to 15.27% for the period of the next 5 years, and 17.98 to 21.95% for the next 5 years after. In terms of imports, Vietnam's imports from the EU increased about 33.0% in 2025 and 36.7% in 2030. In terms of total import turnover of Vietnam from the world, our turnover is expected to increase by an average of 4.36% to 7.27% for the first 5 years of implementation, 10.63 to 15.4% for the next 5 years, and 16.41 to 21.66% for the 5 years afterwards. In general, the EVFTA will contribute to diversifying our market in order to not depend too much on any one market, therefore helping to ensure the economic security of Vietnam. In addition, the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, CPTPP, was also signed and took effect in January 2020. This agreement is also one of the highlights that make Vietnam a worthy investment country. Specifically, the outstanding benefits that the CPTPP brings are as follows. The CPTPP countries that account for 13.5% of global GDP with a total trade turnover of more than 10,000 billion USD, including major markets such as Japan, Canada, and Australia, will open up many opportunities when new supply chains take shape. Joining the CPTPP will help this trend to develop more stronger, which is an important condition for upgrading the development of the economy. Increasing labor productivity, gradually reducing assembly work, participation in manufacturing companies that have higher added value, from which to step into the development stage of electronics, high technology, green agricultural products, etc. This is a great opportunity to elevate Vietnam's economy in the next 5 to 10 years. For industries, projects with growth will be food products, beverages, tobacco, textiles, some production analysis, and services. In particular, the largest growth is products of school, beverages, cigarettes, textiles, chemicals, plastic products, and leather goods, equipments of downloads, computers, and other products. According to research by the Ministry of Planning and Investment with other light and labor-intensive industries, CPTPP can also generate an average growth rate of 4% to 5%, and export growth can reach from 8.7% to 9.6%. Strategic location. Vietnam is located in the center of ASEAN. With a long coastline, Vietnam has deep seaports, playing an important role in maritime trade with countries in the world, export and import. Its long coastline has direct access to the South China Sea, and proximity to the world's main shipping routes give perfect conditions for trading. Easing regulations for investing. Recent transparency-oriented regulation amendments. In terms of ease of doing business, Vietnam ranked 82 out of 190 countries in 2016. Compared to the previous year, the ranking improved by 9 positions. This rise was the result of improvements in some process of doing business. For example, the government made the procedures of getting electricity and paying taxes easier, according to the World Bank report. Trading Economics expects the Vietnamese economy to achieve a worldwide ranking of 60 by 2020. Trade agreements. Another indication of openness to the global economy are the numerous trade agreements Vietnam has signed to make the market more liberal. Some of the memberships and agreements are member of the World Trade Organization, member of the ASEAN and ASEAN Free Trade Area, AFTA, bilateral trade agreement with the US, free trade agreement with the European Union comes into effect 2018. Globalization is an inevitable trend that has been happening after Vietnam signed in global trade agreements. This global participation has significantly created various opportunities supporting economic and trading development. However, there are many challenges that need to be overcome. Vietnam's GDP growth. Over the past 30 years, Vietnam's economy has shown remarkable growth since the economic and political reforms under Đổi mới, launched in 1986. 2019, Vietnam's economy continued to grow. According to the World Bank and projections from Trading Economics, Vietnam's gross domestic product GDP in 2019 is $261.92 billion USD, which is approximately 0.22% of the global economy. This year of 2020, similar to other countries, Vietnam's economy has been dramatically affected due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, with unpredictable and uncertain impacts. Thus, Vietnam's GDP in 2020 is expected to decrease. GDP of the first quarter of 2020 has decreased to 6.79%. Vietnam's annual GDP growth is about 7% in 2019, and it is one of the countries that have the fastest growing rate in the region. Growing population. Vietnam is the 15th largest population in the world. The population density in Vietnam is 314 per kilometer squared, or 813 people per mile squared. 37.7% of the population is urban. Vietnam is experiencing rapid demographic and social change. Its population reached 97 million in 2018, up from 60 million in 1986, and is expected to expand to 120 million by 2050. Nielsen estimates that the Vietnamese middle-class population will grow to 44 million by 2020 and 95 million by 2030. Young demographics. The median age in Vietnam is 32.5 years for 2020. Today, 70% of the population is under 35 years of age, with a life expectancy of 76 years, the highest among countries in the region at similar income levels. But the population is rapidly aging. The government's investments in education result in a more skilled labor force. Low setup costs. By integrating with the global economy, Vietnam has successfully attracted a significant number of international investors establishing a business within. One of the most attractive reasons is the low setup cost. There is mostly no minimum capital required. However, the planned capital must be reasonable and realistic. Additionally, a foreigner can legally own a business within Vietnam with the condition that at least one director is a Vietnamese resident. Investors have to pay the full amount of capital within 90 days after the company's registration. Investors' only concern should be on budgeting expenses. Tax benefits. In addition, many tax policies have been modified by the Vietnamese government to attract more investment. Exemption on custom duties and VAT, and exemption on corporate income tax, up to 8 years offered in Vietnam's free zones and industrial zones. Preferential tax incentives for up to 15 years are applicable for eligible manufacturing projects, or 4 years of tax exemption and 50% tax deduction for sequential 5 years for socialized sector projects, education, healthcare, etc. Low labor cost. Also, low labor cost is an important reason that attracts substantial foreign investments in the service industry, as well as setting up industrial factories. The average monthly wage is $180 a month, while that of Thailand is $300 per month, and Indonesia's is $280 per month. Great low-cost alternatives to China as more investors decide to set up manufacturing companies in Vietnam. VCHS is an initiative of ATIM Group, which has been formed to assist Vietnamese and Canadian companies in promoting bilateral trade and investment. With over 12 years of experience in legal, trade, and investment consultancy, with many successful projects and a team of lawyers, strategic and capital advisors, business development consultants, we are capable of providing market research, partner search, partnership development, and structured trade finance services to exporters and investors. We have been developing focused consulting teams in education, food and agriculture, textile and garment, banking and finance, legal consulting, business, M&A Consulting to deliver the mentioned services. We have 4 offices in Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, Vancouver, and signed up MOU with ITPC, HBA, with strong support from Vietnam Trade Office in Ottawa. We are developing a relationship with business associations in Canada, Vietnam, and ASEAN to fulfill our mission.